We're talking about how to reduce stress when you are buying a home. I always tell people, I say, if you think it's stressful now when you're getting pre-approved, wait until you get into contract and wait until closing day. It only gets worse. And they always start laughing. They're like, oh my God, Khash. I say, the funny thing is, there's a point in time when you look back and say, holy smokes, he wasn't joking when he said that to me. So today is how to reduce stress when you are buying a home. I'm gonna give you the steps today of reducing stress when you are buying a home. They're short, they're sweet, they're easy, all of it, okay? The first step, of course, number one, to reduce stress while you're buying a home, talk to a lender. The first thing you wanna do is make sure that you not only qualify for a loan, but what all of your boundaries are. What's the most you can go up to? What's the payment? What's the rate? How much money do you need? When you speak to a good loan officer, not that I know any, but when you speak to a good loan officer, they will properly educate you on all of those points. Speak to a lender first. I realize that, and not just speak to a lender, have a conversation with them. Like being like my YouTube videos, watch my YouTube videos. I have stories on these videos that run through the steps to get pre-approved, the 3 things it takes to get a mortgage loan, and then just Q&A, questions and answers with Hannah, one of my assistants, who's amazing. Asking me, Khash, how far do you have to be out of a bankruptcy for FHA? Do you have to pay off collections? How is earnest money handled? How do you handle cash? How do you deal if I'm a waitress, if I'm a bartender? What about if I'm self-employed? There's a lot of those questions. I have over 400 of those videos. These are 20-second videos that just go boom, 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 straight through the questions answer. Educate yourself on the financing side. When you're talking to a good loan officer, and there's a ton of them out there with a ton of great companies. Of course, I think I'm the best, but that's beside the point. Speak to a lender first. Get educated on it. Write stuff down so you have it in writing. This is what you want to do. Second step, you want to speak to a real estate agent, okay? As somebody buying a home, you are not the one paying the agent. The sellers are paying the agent. You want to speak to a real estate agent. You want to speak to someone who does this for a living, who was just in 5 houses yesterday. In the last month, they've been inside of 20 houses, 30 houses, 40 houses. They've done this job for a long time. Or who knows, maybe it's your friend who just got their license, but they're young and ready and energetic and looking into it, and they're diving into every single thing, and they're gonna look over every inch of everything you're gonna look at. You wanna speak to a real estate agent. You wanna tell that agent, what do you like and what don't you like? Me personally, I liked rooms that were square, not rectangular. Now you're like, Jesus, guy's a lunatic. What type of weird thing is that? But here's the thing though, I knew what I wanted, okay? But I didn't know what I wanted first. It took me a while looking at a couple houses, not 100 homes, because there is something called looking at too many houses. So you wanna be real careful. You start looking at too many houses, you can get into a whole problem if you'll never find something you like. But I'll get to a point on that one later actually. But you look at a few houses, you'll start learning what you want. You tell it to the agent can then start helping sift through houses a lot quicker. Third step to reducing stress when you're buying a home is stay within your budget. Stay within your budget, okay? You've gotta stay within your budget. Know what you can afford. I've had somebody saying, Khash, can you tell me if I can afford this? No, I can't tell you if you can afford it. I can tell you what the guidelines are. I can tell you what affordable is considered in my industry. I've had people where I've said, you qualify up to $500,000, and they're like, Khash, I can't afford that at all. I can't afford more than $100,000. Well, on paper, in my industry, we believe up to $500,000 for you is affordable. I've had people where I've said, I can't go much over $100,000. And like, Khash, I could afford more than that. And I'm like, on paper, based on what my industry considers affordable, I can't go much beyond $100,000. So at the end of the day, know what is affordable for you. Know where your rent is, where are your boundaries at? Can you afford what you're doing? And by the way, that's how people get into trouble. They bite off more than they can chew. They take out too big of a payment. They think they can afford it. And the next thing they find out is, holy smokes, this is not affordable. So know your budget, know your limitations, okay? Here's another one. Smaller is better. When you're buying your first home, okay, especially for first-time home buyers out there watching me, especially for first-time home buyers watching me, When you're buying your first home, smaller is better, okay? It's great to go buy the newly constructed home and just knock it out of the park, and you're sitting on this huge house that's bigger than your parents' house ever was, and you're sitting here saying, oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world. But at the end of the day, smaller is better. Know your limits. If you're looking at two different houses and one is gigantic and one is small, and you're sort of on the fence saying the bigger one comes with a payment, because don't forget, more money, more loan, bigger payment. That bigger one comes with a bigger payment that gives me anxiety, but man, the house is exactly the way I wanted it. The smaller house is the payment we can afford for a fact, and I could do it all day long, but man, the house is ugly. Go with the ugly house, okay? Go with the ugly house. I'm telling you this right now, okay? So smaller is better. Conservative, slow, and easy. It's kind of like investing into your retirement, okay? Slow and easy. These get-rich-quick schemes never work. I'm day trading in the stock market. I'm flipping houses. Over time, I got news for you. Las Vegas was not built on people who win. Las Vegas was built on the people who stop in for a weekend, fire down money, thinking they're going to win millions, and fall flat on their face. Are there people who win a lot of money in a weekend there? Of course there are. There's a hell of a lot more that don't, okay? So pay attention to that one. Smaller is better. Conservative, small, and easy, okay? Let me give you another one. I always tell people this one. Patience is a virtue, okay? Patience is a virtue. Be patient about it. Make sure when you're talking to your agent, you're talking to your lender, you're talking to two people who are licensed professionals who do this for a living, and they're sitting here saying, hey, listen, these are your boundaries. This is what you told me is affordable. This is where we want to keep you at. This is what we want to stay within. And the agent saying, hey, within those boundaries, this is every single house that's up for sale in that market. And you're sitting here saying, I just don't like those houses. Well, then sit on the sidelines then, okay? And understand, sooner or later, you're going to want to jump in, okay? The perfect house, I can't say anything ever is going to come along that's perfect, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that it's something that you see yourself and you can move to. Another one is come up with a timeline and hold yourself accountable to it. I mentioned earlier speaking to a lender. I have customers who say, Khash, I'm not going to have the money to put down for 8 weeks, okay? I'm not going to have that money down at all. It's going to take me 2 months to save up. Come up with a budget in writing. Come up with what I call milestones and dates that you will have certain amounts of money in the bank. When you do that, that's gonna reduce a lot of stress on you, because you're gonna know where you have to be at what time. It's scheduled, it's there, and this is how you get there. This is how you reduce stress when you're buying a home. Put stuff in writing. Write down the closing cost, the rate right now, the payment of where it's at. Hold yourself accountable for those things. Another one is this is a big one. I tell people this one all the time. See the home for what it could be and not for what it is, okay? This is a big deal. See the home for what it could be, not for what it is. When I bought my first home, Parma, Ohio, from Mrs. Graham, okay? She was the original owner of the house. When I bought the first home, listen, pink carpet, orange carpet in the one room, purple bathroom. It had a purple toilet, purple tub, purple tile, purple everything. It was straight out of the 70s. Now you're watching thinking, Khash, the 70s, I don't remember that. It was straight out of the 90s, right? It all just depends what you're used to, when you were born, what your time frames are. But everything in the bathroom was purple, it was all purple, okay? Oh, how about this one? It had wallpaper on the ceilings. So the ceilings were all wallpapered. I mean, it was just outdated and old, okay? But at the same time, I'm sure that my house is probably outdated and old now too. When you own a house for 50 years, you tend to kind of keep what you like and what you think is nice, and that's what Miss Graham thought was nice, and that's just totally awesome. But at the end of the day, I saw the house for what it could be, not for what it was, and it ended up turning into one of the best homes I've ever owned in my life. Because when I walked in, I said, man, I could paint the walls this color. I'm gonna rip out that flooring and do this. I'm gonna gut that bathroom. I'm gonna put all of this stuff in the bathroom here. And the truth is I did, and it ended up looking incredible, all because of this simple concept. I saw the house for what it could be and not for what it was. I get a lot of people tell me, Khash, this house is just ugly. Okay, but you're gonna go in and paint the walls. You're gonna go in and change some of the flooring maybe, okay? I tell people this all the time. New carpet and new paint on the walls, it overhauls a whole entire house, okay? You clean everything up and throw some detergent down or cleaners down or Febreze down or whatever it is, it can make something that looks pretty ugly look pretty impressive. So see the house for what it could be and not for what it is. That's a big deal in reducing stress when you're buying a home. So when you're considering jumping into that fire of buying a home, these are the steps you want to follow to reduce your stress, and I promise you they work. Reach out to me, get a hold of me, call me, put comments down in this video there. I'll answer them. We can message each other, we can talk. I can help guide you through the process. I do loans in 45 states. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, share this on your page, and catch my next video, and I'll see you on the next one.